everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be talking about gesso, what gesso is and how to use it and what are the benefits of it. And just FYI, I just had to chase a wasp out of my art studio, and yes, it was terrifying, but I made a homemade contraption. Oh gosh. Did you hear me crack? This is a broom attached to the vacuum hose. Everything worked out pretty good because he just flew out the door. I think it worked. So let's talk about gesso. So gesso is like acrylic white paint, except for it's thinner, so that way you can sand it and it doesn't lose its texture. The main goal of gesso is to prime surfaces, and you can prime almost anything. You can prime your canvases, which is normally what it's used for. You can also prime wood. You can also prime some glass, but I gessoed a glass dish like from my kitchen, which you shouldn't do, and it didn't really turn out too well. But I'm not advertising that because I tried it. It sucked. Generally, gesso is made of pigment and filler. The filler could range from anything from chalk to silica. Some people even make it homemade. That's normally filler like cornstarch, baking soda, things of that nature. The pigment is just the white that's in it. Sometimes it's glue for the homemade gesso. Sometimes it's even white acrylic paint. The goal is to make it thin so that way it still maintains its character, so you can sand it and you can do all the things in order to get a smooth surface. You know two things about me if you subscribe to my channel. Number one, I'm super cheap. I don't like to spend a lot of money on a lot of things, which by the way, went to Goodwill and I got all the Twilight books for $1.50. Now, was it a good deal? You know, you tell me if that was really a good deal or not. Anyway, the second thing that you know about me is that I'm all about trying to figure out if this paint is trying to kill me. So I looked up if gesso was toxic. I looked up a safety data sheet specifically for my Liquitex gesso, and it recommended that you don't apply it to food or drink. I applied it to a glass, so I guess I'm just gonna have to destroy the glass. So don't do that. It's not classified as a carcinogen, and it's not classified as being harmful to any particular organ, so that's good news. This Liquitex brand is made of titanium dioxide, 2-methyl-1, and 2-benzothiol. I didn't practice this one. 2-benzothiazole 3. So all that stuff sounds kind of scary to me. But I found another safety data sheet that said it has been observed that the carcinogenic hazard of this substance arises when respirable dust is inhaled in quantities leading to significant impairment of particular clearance mechanisms in the lung. In the lung? Surely they mean lungs. It's not just one lung. What it sounds like to me is if you don't whiff this, or if you don't make some sort of a concoction that makes this dust and you sniff it, you should be pretty good. So that's sort of what gesso is. Now let's move on to how you use gesso. So this bottle was $12 and it is 8 fluid ounces. And I like to paint on really small canvases, so this guy's gonna last me a super long time. Some people gesso really big canvases, and I would assume that this would not last a very long time, especially you have super professional artists, which I'm not. You have some professional artists that gesso 3 times and they sand in between. I don't think it would last super long for them, but for me, 12 bucks for 8 ounces, and I already gessoed 2 little tiny canvases, and I'm still, I mean, it doesn't even look like I opened it. It's a pretty good deal, I would say. And it's available at Hobby Lobby, so if you have a Hobby Lobby near you and it's not Sunday, you should be good. Also, the only thing that they had in stock at my Hobby Lobby was the clear gesso. This is the glass I was talking about, and that is clearly not clear. I think maybe the whole thing was just off and wrong. So another thing is if you buy canvases like in bulk like this or something, it's gonna say acrylic gesso primed, which is dope because you're like, dude, why am I trying to spend $13 on a bottle of junk when literally it says it's already primed, suckers? Yes, I thought that as well because I'm cheap. So here's the deal though. This primer is not gonna be as good as your own gesso primer. These companies, they don't really take the time to do it correctly. So if you're an artist who wants to coat it a couple of times, sand it a couple of times, big companies ain't gonna do that. They're just gonna slap something on and be like, huh, primed, dope, here you go, you wanna buy it? Also, they're probably not using professional artist grade gesso. They're probably using gesso that has way more filler than pigment in it to save them money. So for example, this is Ralph. He was painted on just the canvas. I didn't do any gesso, I did nothing. I have white spots in there where the paint didn't flow evenly into the weaving of the canvas. You also see that it's just really grainy. I don't really like how Ralph turned out. I mean, he's cute, but like, bruh. So on the flip side, this guy was gessoed. This is one coat of gesso, and I didn't sand it, I didn't do anything. I just whopped some gesso on there. It looks 1,000 times better. There's no graininess. The black down here has no white marks. I mean, the paint just blended so well. I mean, it was incredible. This gesso stuff is entirely worth the $13. It makes your paintings look like something that people would actually want to buy. All right, let me consult my notes. It is so easy to use. I took this brush. So this brush, 99 cents, and what I did was, I'm not only cheap, I'm very lazy. I literally took this gesso and poured it upon my canvas in like little zigzags. And then I took this guy and I acted like I was painting on my canvas. I made sure all of it was covered. I set it to the side for 24 hours. I came back the next day, painted on it, wham. It was perfect. If you're not lazy, then you can do that and then sand it with a super fine piece of sandpaper. And some people have gradations as to the sandpaper that they use, but I haven't explored that, which I might have to make another video on that when I explore it. Hopefully you'll be able to see the difference between non-gessoed and non-gessoed and gessoed. If I haven't sold gesso for you, here's some benefits. Number one is it makes the canvas hard so that the paint doesn't absorb into the weaves of the canvas or the slats in the wood, in order for you to actually see the paint and the beauty of the painting instead of the texture that you're painting on. Since it doesn't absorb it as much, that means you save money because you don't have to use as much paint. Bam! The second benefit of gesso is that it prevents premature aging and yellowing. I haven't really had a problem with either of those. I mean, if you want your paintings to last like 2,000 years, you know, like biblical style, I guess that's good. By the way, if this section of the video looks different than the last section of the video, it's because I had to take a break for lunch. Who likes mayonnaise and banana sandwiches? Huh? No one? Yeah, I'll just be by myself. So the third benefit of gesso, it's good for making the surface that you want to paint more smooth. Lastly, it seemed like my colors were more vibrant. I don't know if that's just me. Let me know if you guys feel the same way. So anyway, so that is my introduction to gesso. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Like, subscribe, comment, don't like, don't subscribe, don't comment, be true to yourself. Later.